Welcome, angels and all, and we're up to day 22 of Snippets of Information, a podcast every day for 365 days. So I just want to remind you that when we receive information, we're not learning anything. We're simply remembering. And this is what all this is about. I'm not giving you new information. I'm helping you remember who you are. Because we have access to all information, all wisdom that's ever been and ever will be. Nothing's changing out there. The wisdom is the same. We just choose to pick on different bits from time to time. And so I want to use that because when we can access the true information that's true to our integrity as to who we are, get that light out. That's when we can align truly with our soul, with who we are, with who we're meant to be, what we're meant to be doing on this planet on a daily basis and on a lifetime basis or whatever. So I've talked about A Course in Miracles, which is a 300 and something page course, a psychological course on living life with peace. And it's based around forgiveness. So there's an awful lot in it, 360 something pages. It might be more. And but anyway, that's encapsulating it and probably not doing it a service. One of the things that it does talk about quite a lot is that there are two voices. So using the Course of Miracles phrases, it talks about the two voices being the voice of ego and the voice of spirit. So we could use logic and intuition or gut feeling or whatever, or the past and the bigger everything. So the Course says that the voice of ego always speaks first and it always speaks loudest. So whenever we think about doing something, the first thought that comes up is, oh, I don't know if I can do this, or I remember how I did it last time. It's always, so the voice for ego, the logic, always taps into the past. The last time I ate carrots, I didn't like them. When I was a 5-year-old child, I didn't like carrots. So therefore, when I think about eating carrots now, I won't like them. The ego always taps into the past about what happened last time. And if I tried to ride a horse and fell off, therefore, the ego will say, I can't ride horses because I will fall off. And that then gets stored in a little compartment in our brain about horse fear, pain. And of course, that then goes down into an emotion. So whenever I think of horse, it's like, ooh, pain, whatever. So that's the ego system. It always taps into the past about what happened last. And that kind of keeps us trapped in the past. It has no ability to look into the future and what's possible. It's trying to keep us safe. That's its kind of joie de vivre. No, not joie de vivre. It's raison d'etre. Sorry, my French is dreadful. It's reason for being. It's raison d'etre. It's here to keep us safe. So if we think about having carrots, it'll go, no, don't have carrots. You don't like them. Or if you think about riding a horse, no, we'll stop you riding a horse. And we'll do all sorts of things inside of us, emotionally and mentally, to stop us doing things that we didn't succeed doing last time. And it might have been yesterday or it might have been 50 years ago. It does not forget. Like elephants and accountants, the ego never forgets. And if it's something we haven't done, but it's something other people have tried and have not succeeded, it will say, well, nobody else has done it, so you can't. So we look at every other pattern that's happened in the past behind us. And if it hasn't been done before, no, you can't do it because it hasn't happened. It hasn't been done. And I remember many, many years ago when we bought our first house. It was a very old house, and I had this wonderful. I'd never done any building work or anything in my life, and I just tore into it. I just had a huge lot of fun, and I've been doing up houses ever since. So at one stage in the kitchen, it was a large room, kitchen, dining room. It had this ceiling that had tongue and groove ceiling. So it was a very had grooves in it, and it had lots of light shades put up and taken down, and other ones put up. So there'd been lots of holes that had been filled very badly, and it was a real mess. On top of the fact that it was very rough, it had also been painted with gloss paint. Now, I came up with a brilliant idea out of nowhere. It wasn't an ego idea because I'd never done this before. So I thought what would be really cool is to wallpaper the ceiling with very heavy embossed paper and then paint it so it would look like an embossed ceiling. And I just thought, let's do this. So I went to the wallpaper and paint shop, and I said that I was going to wallpaper the ceiling, and they said, oh no, you can't do that. It's very difficult. You can't do it. Yeah, if you're not a trained, qualified wallpaperer, you can't do it. And I said, well, I'm going to be embossing over tongue and groove ceiling with all these grooves in it. Oh no, that won't work because it'll show up and you'll have gaps and it'll look awful, and you really can't do that. And I said, well, I'm going to be embossing over a gloss paint. And they said, no, you really, really, really can't do that. You can't wallpaper over gloss paint because the glue won't stick. It'll just fall off. Gravity. Whoo-hoo. There goes wallpaper. I said, I want to do it. They said, you're bloody mad. That's actually what they said. And so I bought the wallpaper. And so I sanded the ceiling lightly just to make it rough. And I made up my own glue. It had PVA glue and wallpaper glue, and I also put in the grouting, or sizing, which is sort of a gritty stuff. So the glue held it onto the ceiling, and it was gritty, so it created a key, if you like, for the wallpaper. And I stuck it up, and we painted it a nice pale yellow. And I thought everyone thought it was lovely, thought it was really cool, looked really neat. What I didn't know, when we came to sell the house 8 years later, we weren't there. I'd already moved house to where we'd gone somewhere else. And the agent, what we didn't know, see, in the 1920s and 30s in New Zealand, there were wealthy people who put up plaster ceilings, and they were the very wealthy ones. And those who were sort of, if you like, middle class, they used embossed zinc ceilings, and they were sort of the nearly wealthy people. And so they had these ceilings of embossed zinc, and they looked like plaster ones, and they were very expensive. So what we didn't know is when the agent was taking, and we never said anything, we just didn't say what was on the ceiling, here's the house. But the agents, 3 of them, different ones, all told potential buyers that it had zinc pressed ceilings, which is a real status thing. We didn't know this. It wasn't a lie. So it was that good that they thought it was zinc pressed ceilings. And Julian, hello. Nice to see you. Anyway, I was not working from logic. I was working from just having a go. I just had a feeling that it would work, and it did. It added value to the house, and we got more for it than if it had stayed. And there's Joy as well. So lovely to see you as well. So sometimes when we just have an idea and it's illogical and stupid and everyone else says you can't do it, if we buy into the logic or ego, as the Course says, we won't do it. And think of how many times you've been told you can't do this because it's impossible. How many times did and they scientifically proved that it was impossible for a human being to run the mile in under 4 minutes. They proved it was impossible until Roger Bannister did it, and now everyone's doing it. Well, not me. But so nothing is impossible except if you buy into the ego side of your brain or the ego side of your thinking. And that will mean that you don't do stuff if you failed at it last time. Nice to see you, Gillian. And if you failed or it was tasted awful, it was uncomfortable, it was bad, If you drove a Datsun car and it didn't go very well, you'll never buy a Datsun car again. Or, well, they don't have Datsuns anymore, they're Nissans. So it doesn't matter what it is. If you've had a bad experience with something, the ego will remember. It will not forget. And even that part of your mind that kind of consciously remembers stuff, you will find yourself steering away from things that you want to do. And it kind of appears that there's no reason. So you may not remember on your conscious level about the carrots that you hated when you were 3, but your ego will remember, and it will just gently, almost quietly steer you away. Don't touch that. Don't touch it. So just remember the first voice that speaks up is the ego, the one based on logic, and it's the loudest voice. It will tell you can't do this, and it will bring up all those emotions related to the last time you whatever did this thing. And it might be 50 years ago. We do not forget. So that's the ego. It only processes from the past. And if the past was good, it'll go, yeah, let's do it. And if the past was bad, it'll go, no, you're not doing it. You're not doing it. It'll come up with all sorts of things, including the emotions, including the reasons. The other side of our thinking, which always speaks second and always speaks quieter, is what A Course in Miracles calls the voice for spirit, or the voice for God. Sorry, the voice for God, which we might call spirit, intuition, gut feeling, all that illogical stuff. And that has access to everywhere, including the future. So sometimes we get a really good idea about doing something. It's just like a spark. And often it's that when we're waking up in the morning and still in that not quite awake, but not quite asleep, when we're sort of not thinking before we decide to invent our souls for the day, sometimes there's this idea. And if we follow that idea up, it's amazing how we don't know what the future is going to bring, but when we have those ideas, 99.9% of the time, magic happens. So I'd sort of told a bit of the story about how I'd started running these courses. I woke up in the morning in Tauranga in New Zealand, and I just had this idea. I really wanted to run personal development courses, helping people find their passion, their soul alignment. This would have been 1997, something like that. Who cares? I woke up with this idea and I said to my wife at the time, I said, I really feel like running personal development courses. Wonder how you do it. She said, well, there's a high school just down the road, 5 minutes away. Why don't you go down there and you could do the night classes? So, oh, okay. So I drove down there, 5 minutes, and I found the lady who looks after the night courses, Sue Hawkins, lovely person. And so she explained to me that all of their courses are 17-week courses. If I was to go home and come back with a 17-week course, she'd entertain the idea and maybe book it in for whenever the next schedule was. So I went home, and 2 hours later, I was back in her office with a 17-week course. I don't know how I wrote that course. I don't remember doing it. It's almost like it wrote itself. I was, if you like, in spirit or connected to the bigger wisdom, and it fell out of my brain, through my pen, onto the paper and into the computer. And Sue was amazed. She said, you just did this now. She said, most tutors, trainers, teachers can take weeks, sometimes months to come up with their course. I did it in 2 hours. I don't feel like I did it. It kind of came through me. She was so impressed with, apparently, I didn't find this out later, she was so impressed with my enthusiasm and love of what I was wanting to do. And Anyway, so usually the courses will run, I think there were 3 terms in the school year. So you started your course at the beginning of each term. So some people might have to submit their course, and she'd say, yes, it's good, and we'll start it in 3 or 4 months' time. The strange thing was, she said, look, we've got a gap. Would you like to start this in 2 weeks' time? I went, yeah. I always say yes. And afterwards I went, oh my God, I went all hot and cold going, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. I've never done this course before. But anyway, it all worked amazingly, and it just led to so many things. It ended up leading me to doing stuff in South Africa, in Australia here, and all sorts of other things. It led to books and led to so many things I could not have dreamed of. And all it was I woke with an idea, and apparently a logical idea, because I'd never taught this course before. I'd been a participant in courses, and I'd read books, and I loved the subject. I loved the idea of helping people step into their authenticity, into who they really are, instead of having to follow other people's regimes. The whole thing has always fascinated me, and why we stop being who we really are, how we put our souls on hold. So I was always fascinated. I'd done some work, but I had no counselling qualifications at the time. I had no life coaching qualifications. I mean, I've got those now. But it was a logical, from a logic point of view, because I wasn't qualified. I'd had no experience. There was no good reason for doing it, except that I just got this idea. It was just going ping, 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 ping in my little head. It wouldn't let me go. I followed it, and thanks to my wife, who reminded me about the school right there, it was so convenient. I could walk there in 15 minutes probably. And so I ran those courses for many years and had hundreds of people come through. So it's just a little example, and I know that you will have many examples of times when you've woken up, or you've just been doing something else, sitting on the toilet, mowing the lawn, cooking dinner, whatever, doing something else, and then this idea from out of nowhere pops in. I beseech you, follow that trail. Do something. Just do something about it. Take the next little step and the next little step, because as we take one step, the next one will show up, and the next one, and the next one. It's like the universe just goes, yeah, let's give this person a push, and they do. It does. Whatever. Just follow the little prompt. You'll be amazed what happens. And just know that when you are following this prompt from Spirit, from God, as the Course calls it, the ego will keep chipping in. It will keep going, no, you can't do this. It won't work. There's going to be fear. There could be rejection. There could be this. There could be that. Just know that it will keep nagging you. Let it go. Let it carry on. I hear you. You can't stop it. It's the nagger of the world, of the year, of the century. So follow the Spirit guide, if you like, whatever we call this, intuition, gut feeling. Follow the little prompt. It will lead to another prompt. It will lead to another prompt. There will be support as you go along. And despite the ego going, don't do it. Just do it. Just do it now. As some big company will tick that off. So we always have the two voices. The voice for logic. And of course we have to live in this world. And as the Arabs say, believe in God, but don't forget to tie your camel up. So put petrol in your car, put oil in your car, look after your house. We have to do the practical, logical things. That's part of life. But when we get a prompt that comes from nowhere that usually seems illogical, or where did that come from? There's usually a sense of peace with it. And that tells you everything you need to follow it. So I wish you many prompts from the spirit world, if you like, the real world that's surrounding us. It's just everywhere. And I wish you peace and fun in following your prompts.